Even more information has been released in the Erin Patterson Mushroom Massacre case, and this time it's about another secret trip of hers. Let's talk about it.
Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad, sipping from the cup at hey.
Now hold on everybody, let's do a quick sofa sidebar now. Keep in mind, ain't no cop, ain't no doctor, ain't no lawyer, ain't no therapist, ain't none of that fancy credentialed stuff, okay? Only credentials we got up in here is my sass, and this sofa. Now keep in mind also, I'm just giving my opinions on very public information, so do your own research, come to your own opinions, and drop them off in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you do like what you see here at the Sofa Squad, drop a little like, drop a little comment, drop a little share. It helps the channel out immensely. Now let's get edition. Hello Sofa Squad and welcome back to the sofa. That's a sofa. This is a pillow. This is a ball. My name is Paul if you're new to the channel. If you're not new to the channel, guess what? My name's still Paul. Okay. So again, Mushroom Massacre case, Erin Patterson, secret trips, you name it, right? Keep in mind that this is an Australian case if you are watching from the States or anywhere else. So their information, public information, not public information with cases is a little bit different. Now that Erin Patterson has been convicted of the charges against her, which were taking the lives of 3 people by giving them a death cap laced beef Wellington and almost taking the life of a 4th person. We are still awaiting sentencing. I'm recording this on the 21st. I believe some movement in the case is going to happen on the 25th, maybe victim impact statements, things of this nature. More information is being released bit by bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this article as a talking point. I'm going to put it on the screen and we'll go over it and just, read through it and then just, make some commentary on it. So let's go ahead and get in on to it. Okay, so on the screen here, you see Killer Cook's Secret Trip After Fatal Lunch. This is by Liam Beattie, August 17th, 2025. And we, of course, see the infamous Erin Patterson there. Now, the first thing just here goes up to say details of a car ride mushroom killer Erin Patterson took in the hour after lunch guest left her home can now be made public. At trial, she told the jury she spent the afternoon cleaning and binge eating an orange cake her mother-in-law brought, while her son gave evidence that she had gone upstairs to play Lego. But what the jury didn't hear was that police had tracked Patterson jumping in the car and traveling to a recycling center in landfill about 13 kilometers away. The 4 lunch guests, it goes, the victims, Donna Gail Patterson, Heather and Ian Wilkinson, left the home about 2:45 p.m. July 29th, 2023. Now next we see here, it says giving evidence, Ian Wilkinson said Don dropped him and his wife home a little after 3 p.m. for a scheduled meeting with other members of their church where he serves as pastor. Now continuing on, you can see a little overview of Erin's house there. It says, meanwhile, Patterson during her time in the witness box claimed she began the cleanup after the quartet left her home. Quoting Erin on the stand, she says, I kept cleaning up the kitchen and putting everything away. And I had a piece of cake and then another piece of cake and then another, she said. Patterson said she felt sick and, quote, brought it back up, which her lawyers later argued may well explain why she wasn't as sick as the others. Her teenage son gave evidence that he helped his mom clean up before playing the computer game Valorant with a friend. He said later that evening he found his mother upstairs building Lego and asked her to drive the friend home about 7 p.m. Now keep in mind, it takes a little while for death cap poisoning to take place, but nonetheless, she's doing all this normal stuff and this whole thing, I brought it back up. There's no proof of that, right? Continuing on, it says during the trial, the jurors were shown CCTV footage of Patterson dumping her dehydrator, which later, was found to have the death cap mushrooms, remnants of it, and at this transfer landfill station on August 4th, a day after she was released from the hospital. Now, here's this picture here, so this is something new. But they didn't learn this wasn't Patterson's first visit to the tip. In pre-trial hearings earlier this year, Crown Prosecutor Sarah Linthal told the court investigators had discovered Patterson visited the landfill within an hour of the lunch. At 3:29 p.m. on July 29th, Patterson arrived at the Kunwara transfer station landfill, dropping off an unknown item or items in a small amount of cardboard. So look at that time, 3:29. Okay, so remember, this is literally right after everybody left. This is like boom, 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 here we go. Now continuing on, it says the records from the facility indicate she paid $9.50 at 3:59 9:51 p.m. for the disposal of items that fell into the categories of 120L bin and 0.5 M PAP/card. The items were not recovered, but it was alleged that CCTV captured her disposing cardboard and something else. Prosecutors sought to use this and the element of secrecy by not telling her son as a basis for the jury to infer that items were connected to the fatal meal and incriminating. Ms. Lenthal argued that evidence pointed to Patterson leaving less than 30 minutes after her guest did and that there was plenty of space left in her home bins. We say the jury could, acting on the evidence as a whole, accept that the purpose of making that trip was to dispose of items related to the lunch, she said. It must be due to the nature of the material rather than the volume of material as to why she's making that trip. In response, the defense barrister Colin Mandy SC argued that the prosecution was seeking to invite speculation when a jury could not draw the logical inference Patterson's visit was incriminating. What's been disposed of at the Kunwara tip could be entirely innocent and nothing to do with any event, he said. This conduct was ultimately ruled out of the case by the trial judge, Justice Christopher Beale, and business records from the facility were altered before they were shown to the jury to remove the mention of that trip. Now, the justice's reasons for ruling this was inadmissible were released this week along with a series of his pretrial rulings. He wrote that when a suspect conceals or destroys something such as a body, a jury could reasonably infer the act amounted to an implied admission of their guilt. But the judge found that when the thing in question is itself unknown, it invites the jury to speculate. I accept the accused's submission that since item A invites speculation, it fails the test of relevance, he said. Patterson was found guilty of murdering Don, Gail, and Heather and the attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson following 11 weeks of trial on July 7th. She will return to court later this month for a pre-sentencing hearing. So that's the article. Let's talk about it. Okay, now I understand what the judge is saying because they could not determine what it is. So I do understand and do feel that that is fair of saying we don't know what this is. There's going to be speculation. It could be anything, right? However, that being said, let's reel it back down to the sofa and let's speculate from the sofa. Okay, so what do we know as a fact? 3 people died. 1 almost died after eating her food. There were death cap mushrooms in this food. We also know that she disposed of a dehydrator days after, basically once it was discovered. Okay, so yes, one could infer, why on earth would you hop in the car as soon as your guest left? You've got, well, no, that's right, because I was gonna say you got kids at home, but she didn't have kids at home. She's all by herself at this time. You leave, you go throw this away. It's not really a ton of items, and you come back. So what was in that? Now, also remember, she got tricky with her phone. They never got her original phone. Remember, she gave them like a fake one or whatever. So she was tricky in some of these ways because she got rid of the evidence pretty quickly. So my personal thought on it is, again, I mean, it could be anything that it was, right? But there was some cardboard there. I think she threw some form of evidence away, whatever that was, and why she didn't throw other forms away, I don't know. But it could also be that maybe she had leftover death cap mushrooms and maybe she felt like, I'm going to go throw these away along with, and I'm making this up, whatever she prepared them on, or maybe I had some newspapers I prepared them on and this and that and you see where I'm going? Maybe they were stored in this cardboard box. I think it was directly related to something with the death cap mushrooms that she felt she needed out of the house so that maybe her kids didn't get into it or something. Now then one would also say, but she left the dehydrator, and that would be my next question too, like, well, why get rid of this and not get rid of that? Why not get rid of the dehydrator? I don't think she thought at this point she was going to get caught. I think that she thought she was going to get one over on all of them, and so the dehydrator, maybe in her world, she was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to clean it later or whatever. I don't know why you would keep that there, right? Because it had remnants of, there was evidence of the death cap mushrooms being in there dehydrated. So why on earth would you keep that? I mean, and you might be thinking like, well, her kids would never use that. What if, how kids are, what if one of them one day decided I'm going to do this, or who knows? Why would you even keep that in the house? So personally, me, I would have gone ahead and got rid of that. Well, obviously I wouldn't have been doing, we wouldn't even be in the situation. Okay. But that being said, I would have gotten rid of everything. So yes, I personally think there was that. Now, also that being said, and I was explaining this to somebody the other day about the difference between Australia and, the legal world, how it works, this and the other versus America, and, have our, FOIA request and this and the other. The more evidence that comes out about Erin Patterson's case, I'm just like, It is so obvious what was going on, right? And I think one of the reasons why there's so many questions for the public about, well, why did she do this and not this, is because we don't have access to all the evidence, right? And there's just that. And I'm not saying, well, you should release it. I mean, of course, the nosy parts of me wants that, but I get it. But the more that comes out, it's like a piece of the puzzle comes together even more. So to me, from my vantage point, where if you want to just break this down to like an American crime versus an Australian crime and trial, etc., and the whole 9 yards, you know, for American crime, we already have a lot of this information leading up to trial. For us, usually what's like a bombshell is something in an opening statement, something that they've held to their chest and they let it out them. And then after the fact where they might say, okay, the trial's done, we're now going to release this interrogation video, or we're now going to release that type stuff, right? But for the most part, the majority of that stuff, it's already out, it's coming out in trial, so on and so forth. So over here with Erin, so much of this was like not put out there. And then we saw a lot of it in trial, but then so much of the stuff that didn't make it into trial is put out there. I think the judge did a very good job at saying, hey, you know what? This is not going to be this is not going to be that, to avoid trial by media and to keep the trial fair. I mean, even in that realm of things, Erin was still found guilty, right? That just to me goes to show you how insanely guilty she was, okay? There's no telling what else is going to come out. It just keeps getting worse and worse. So that being said, this is kind of a short video, but I just wanted to go over this and put this out here. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. And while you're down there, if you could drop some little weird pillows off and some little sofas for myself, Roscoe and Spirit, Bo and Luke, and you, the Sofa Squad, who makes the sofa possible, I greatly appreciate you for doing it. And until we all gather down in that comment section to do all that stuff I just talked about, I'll see y'all soon.
I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey, welcome to the Sofa Squad, sipping from the cup that hey, come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.